I'm only mentioning it because it was very, very different from most of the other things here. From you know, and it might have, and this one and the other one, I think people would have dismissed out of hand. Most of the people on my judges colleagues did.
This is your judge's choice.
This is my judge's choice. It was interesting. One of my colleagues hated it, but when I showed some of my younger students, they liked it.
Excuse me.
But this one here.
When we did our judge's choice, there was no argument. It was like, that was, nobody could say it.
The added focus one. Okay, so didn't get a prize. No, it did, but it got in the show. So, and I mean, to me, I like it. I felt like the person most everything is massively in focus here. Massively, almost to an extreme that's hard to bear sometimes.
I would have even thought that about the focus thing, because when you see a river and it's shot in the slower form, you get the same streaming. So I liked it.
It was a feeling. It was, you know, and it was different, and I liked it. I mean, I didn't do it just because it was different. If it was craft.
This would be a nice design.
Yes, it could have been a design.
Yeah, there's a bunch of crossover with all that, and we said, well, that looks like a landscape.
Yes, it's very painterly.
Just didn't continue going there. It was a side comment that said, yeah, you know, it's.
So we were looking at.
This one was a controversy too.
I love this one. It has some of the aspects that you talked about with the girl and the thing. But when we talk about composition like that, we were talking about this does almost everything wrong.
Right.
So that it's perfect. You know, right up
Breaks every rule.
Right up the middle.
It was a conscious decision.
Absolutely. So and monochromatic. Take the color out of it, because we were talking about this structure, the organic structure, and this animal, and absolute flatness helps too. It's just, you know, it broke every rule.
It looks like an albumin.
It's nice.
Well, it looks like a very, you'll swim one?
Yeah, that's what I said.
That came up
I thought
also,
it was a
yeah.
beet or a turnip when I first saw
And then we started coming up with names like
Trelephant,
Trelephant.
What's your trello?
rhinoceros tree.
Yeah.
Is it an elephant?
I believe it's an elephant.
It's an elephant. It's at the Paws in San Andreas.
Oh, okay.
It really doesn't matter. It
No,
could be a
it
turtle.
doesn't.
But I never realized that rhinos and elephants were so close
Yeah.
in the back.
I thought it was, yeah.
And when's Jim Carrey when you don't need him? You ever seen that movie?
No, 18%.
Which one?
Jim Carrey, it says Nature Calls, or I forget what it was.
Oh,
It's some
yeah,
kind
I
of
remember
stupid
that.
thing
Tim Robbins was
where
in
he
that
was in
too.
a rhinoceros.
Yeah.
Go see it. One day you might see it when you feel like you want to watch some trash that's mindless, and go laugh.
Any other questions or comments? I mean, this was so funny. When I saw it, I just loved it. There are things that didn't get prizes, but they're just dynamite. You know? I mean, sometimes, you know, it's just like, oh, that's so unusual, but it's so well done as well.
Well, I would love to see 3 pieces from this photographer that had that sense of humor.
Yeah.
And 3 rodeo photographs that have that high energy. I enjoy rodeos. I watch them on TV sometimes. I think these people are crazy. And where I live, there's a lot of dairy ranching and beef ranching, and they do a roundup. And these guys are on horses. It's pretty high energy.
Yeah, we have a huge rodeo.
We have a question about the dog, and
I haven't either.
There was a lot of conversation.
okay, so who was talking about this? You mean us?
Yeah, when you guys,
And yet it still was the moment, I guess, with the sheep, you know, where the sheep were placed behind the dog and that kind of thing.
I mean, this is a crowd pleaser. I mean, to me, I just was very drawn to it immediately, and I really liked it. And some of the technical things that were pointed out didn't diminish my appreciation of the picture at all. And, the essence of it, and just how wonderful to see it. And it's a story. It's a story. You're going to make up a story about it, right?
That's
can't
another
help it.
way to view something is, does it tell a story? Kim's big on that. Does it tell a story? And this indeed does.
And look at that gossip behind there, those two over there. I didn't even notice them so much. It's like,
Yeah, but I had a different take on
They had
this
this-
also.
yeah.
I also liked it. I like to say that I make photographs, not take them, because I have a directorial approach. It's pose. My portraits are contrived. Even some of my landscapes are, I like to put people in them for scale, all right? And they have to stand still if it's a big camera, because it might be a 5-second exposure or something like that. But I had gone out and photographed sheep, a sheep herder, and I said, I have this vision. I want to make this photograph of you standing amidst these sheep, these gentle sheep. And I do this with cows a lot too. You want to outline them. This is what you want. Is this kind of thing graphically, so you can see all the different views of the animal. So we said, well, the only way we're going to get that is we're going to have to come out with a bale of alfalfa and dump it in the middle of the thing. I said, no, I don't want to look like a bunch of alfalfa, but it got dispersed. And I had him standing there. I said, just stand there and look at me. Just stand there and look at me. And I did a series of shots, maybe 12 frames, waiting, just intensely looking, waiting for that moment that I could get something. And there's a lamb like this, right up next to him, looking up, and he's separated. It's not overlapped. And it's on the same plane. And then behind him, there is some of this action here with the overlap, but it's in the background, and it's superfluous compared to all the different little sheep hanging around. And there's one little lamb coming up, and he's just standing there. He's a rancher, a tough guy rancher. He's standing there, and that's what I wanted to get. So that's when I say when I make a photograph. But they're all real things, and they really happen. For the argument that says, well, you designed it, but that's how I work. That's my discipline, all right? And I don't necessarily, but I brought that criticism to this piece. I don't know how long the person stayed there and kept shooting, waiting to see different configurations. Was it just one shot? Was it the Cartier-Bresson? There's a story about Cartier-Bresson every day. You familiar with okay. The decisive moment.
I'm not.
The decisive moment. Oh. Every day, go out with his Leica to the marketplace in Paris, and he'd look at the flies on the food. Did this for a week. Finally came out, stood by the flies, and boop, one frame. Got it. I don't know. That's just conjecture. But that was his approach. The decisive moment is waiting for that exact, the little boy carrying the 2 loaves of bread. And there's a story behind that, which is the man of the family gets the bread, picks up the bread. And this is back in, I guess, the 30s or 40s, 50s. And this little boy's walking down the street with 2 loaves of bread. You're probably familiar with the photograph, or you can look it up. And he's just proud, so on and on. So there's that distinction that I make when I look at photographs that are taken. I like to see photographs that are made, which is part of that informativeness of not going through this all the time and saying, yeah, I've been here, what else? How can I go beyond this? I don't want to make the same picture twice, but I want to have a consistent vision.
There's a correlation when you're shooting film. I'm from Pennsylvania. You're a hunter. You anticipate the shot. You put yourself in the best place to be successful. And you're waiting. Like this person was waiting. You're waiting for this
moment to happen.
Right? I know I'm shooting and I'm waiting for somebody to disperse so that I can, to isolate. or somebody to walk into the frame that I have,
Right.
and I need this element, and I see that, you know, it might happen, but you're shooting, you're a hunter, you're setting it up, and you, like you said, that's part of photography. That you aren't, these aren't drive-by shootings, you're setting it up. You know, your anticipation is part of the, every
And
bit
that's a
of part of the
particular,
process.
that's a particular direction. You know,
Yeah.
Too, I mean, it doesn't imply that you can't do it any other way, but I can only speak from that, and so as you can only speak from your own work that you do in your own.
More similar to what you're describing.
More in the information you have and experiences you have. I mean, you know, if you've got a Model T and you wanna drive 120 miles an hour, you better practice before you get, you know, into the Cadillac. And by the time you've like taken a Cadillac at a speed like that, you better practice on a Ferrari and go 220, or you're gonna crash. It just takes practice, it takes information. You've got to, it fascinates me to see how people get in these race cars and they're doing 220. And it feels like I'm doing 35 in my Prius. But things slow down. All of a sudden you get there, you work at making these things, when you're at these scenes, and things really do slow down because you're taking in so much, you're seeing so much. You're not distracted by technique, by any of these things, by what is fashionable to shoot, by what anybody else did. You found your vision, you know what you're looking for. You have seen this in your head, and you want to get it out on film, a print, or a chip, or with paint, or whatever your medium is. A song. These are all songs, your song, right?
Yes, and King David said, sing a new song.
And,
You know, we're
and
looking
she
over
has
this.
songs.
But-
Literally, she sings.
I know. I was wondering if people, you know, had a particular picture, and please, this is, I'm putting you on the spot. And, you know, anybody can do that. Picture that you love that didn't get acclaimed here, that you could say, I would have given that a prize to, in whatever category. Just curious. I mean, you can agree that you really liked what got a prize, but is there something here that you liked that wasn't noted?
The icicle shot.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a Pete Turner shot.
Pete Turner, you know Pete Turner's work?
Wait.
Looking up, really, that's a high compliment.
Pete Turner, are we talking Pete Turner, who was the art director, that became a photographer?
Well, he was a Nikon sponsored guy in the 70s.
Same thing, he was an art director who became a photographer.
He was all about color saturation.
Yes,
And shapes.
he was the color man. He defined color in the 70s.
That's interesting. Anybody else have a picture that you thought was really great that didn't get a prize?
We like the coffee one.
I did too. That was what I wanted to. That's great. I like this too. Do you want to say why you like it? I want to hear from other people because I think you could be jealous too.
There's line in it.
Because he was standing in
What?
front of that.
There's line.
Okay.
The light coming in, the coffin is open, the coffin is below. Leads to the curtain that brings you back to the light. There's a darkness on the right-hand side. We read from left to right. So the darkness on the right-hand side closes your eye. There's kind of like a sensitiveness in even the dust. It's there. I mean, and it just gives a perception of time.
Well, I was gonna say, the coffin, you know, is a death, a dead, you know, it has a hard, a negative feeling, but the light is a positive, so you have the contrast in there of just the emotion of a still life.
And the essence of human beings is that they bury their dead. You know, this was like when we first found you know, so there's something about the man-made category that suits. These are great comments.
But depending on how you define that too, you know, that could be a consciousness hovering over that and it's 17-day delay before re-entering.
Yeah, another body.
Dropping the body so they can re-enter into.
Good, that's wonderful.
Maybe that's what judgment like this.
Yeah, that's what. This is great. Anybody else got to speak for a picture that didn't get any? This is wonderful to me.
There was a tiny little black and white one.
Can you find it?
That's what.
What category was it?
I don't even remember. It might have been elements of design.
Describe it.
It was tiny. It was like leaves. It almost looked like a pencil black and white.
This?
Maybe I should have found it because I said.
No, we're hang on for a minute.
Okay, no, it was this one. I take that back. I just love the shapes. I kind of wish I did more tone separation. Maybe.
I like that one a lot.
I did too, and at first
I had a sticker on it and I pulled it off.
that's what I did. At first I dismissed this and I went back and said, boy, this is really interesting. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, no, we'll get to that. Great.
it was just the texture that I enjoyed, you know, and it had good balance with the trunks and the leaves. Some of the backlight stuff, I kind of wish you had some more tone in there. Just something, even if it just was tone rather than just pure white. But I thought it was a lovely, lovely piece. You know, when we started yesterday, I said, you know, I've been thinking about criteria. How can I manifest some kind of plan to judge this stuff, to put it in, you know, to dilute it so I could wrap my head around what was good and what was bad. And I said, well, 3 things, and it could be one or all of them. One is, what would I like to see in my house that I'd like to own? And which room? Just to make it over, because there's some things I would want in my bathroom. And don't laugh, because MFK Fisher had paintings every place, art every place, every single room, floor to ceiling. What would I like to see in a museum? And what would make a good note card? And put it through that kind of cruncher and see what came out and how many of those it would be. You know, if you could get all 3, it'd be like having 3 dots on the thing. But there's a difference. You know, there's a lot of stuff that you see that you like that you don't want to have in your house.
A lot of photojournalism pictures that are too hard to live with.
Yeah, or, you know, maybe you need a book of it, or maybe it's something that you see that you, or all 3. Or something that really, you don't want to have it in your house, but God, you want to be able to go see it. You want to have access to it, to experience it. And then there's something, you know, if there was a note card or something that you could get and turn other people onto and say, look at this, I really responded to this. And then they open it and go, oh yeah, I love that card you sent. So that's another one. This one I liked a lot because I thought the juxtaposition of the plywood and the cement was like 2 eras of building technology, simultaneous. That's one, but you guys need to be talking about the ones you would have put in, so.
What about the one at the end of this row here?
Come take us down.
Almost gives you nausea.
I was looking at it, is that Photoshop, or is that really exists?
We're already done.
It is Gaudi?
No, it's architecture of God. It's
That's
similar
what I
to-
said. I said, this looks like 21st century Gaudi. Yeah, all right, you got that. That's what I picked up on.
The structure and the tone.
And there's another one like it too. There's another building that was, but I thought, God, you know, I know I've played around with Photoshop and outline things, and yanked them here and yanked them there.
That's your picture?
Yeah, I said, boy, that's pretty skillful. But it's real.
Oh, no, this is really good.
Brain Institute.
No, I
Have you been
really
in that
was
building?
It's in Las Vegas. Well, I was shot it in Bozeman, it was like through just the door.
No, I think this is
And I was
really
like,
nice.
I love that green door. And I love the old, and my husband's like, people like this.
I'm glad you mentioned it because I really like that.
Yeah. What's it like? Is it like
I had my
Winchester
husband
history?
die. And then it was really a breeze. There was so many single
When you
ones.
walk in there, I mean, there's
Nobody.
level floors and stuff.
Yeah.
And so we sort of, well, okay. I
Years ago, but there's a lot of curves.
You know, I really like that. You know, it's very simple and elegant in a kind of a way.
Yeah, I like
And the
how it's
colors are-
soft.
Yeah, and the colors are unusual.
Yes, well, I like the color that's in it, the green, that's why I like it.
And the fire hydrant.
That door, just like,
I'm glad you told me that. I'm really
Yeah.
excited. I didn't get a chance to tell you how much I like it.
the door, I saw it in there.
There'd be ripples to it or something.
I
At
love
first I thought it was like a puddle reflection.
the leopard. I found synonymous to the, what was the other piece? The wolf. I looked at this and I said, the coyote. I looked at this and I said, you know, I've got a cat. That's where it came from. That's what it does. My cat does that. When I saw the coyote, I said, I got a chihuahua that thinks. So I really enjoyed it. They were entirely different photographers, but catch something like that. And this one, I questioned the gravity and turned it sideways.
Yeah, he turned it all different ways. I want to make I want to make a comment about my fight. My hardest fight was for Riviera. Yeah. So.
I was her compadre on that. Just.
Yes. Because, and I think, you know, we were talking about papers and things that go together. I thought this was a phenomenal use of metal, you know, having a metallic, you know, print for this image, and yet it just pops it that much.
Kim yielded to us on that.
Yeah, and I just, you know, I can't help it. I'm seduced by color, and, you know, I mean, I like the composition of it, and it was exciting to me. It had a lot of energy. And it does have words in it, and it's fun.
It felt like driving into Vegas or someplace like that after driving all night in the desert because it's so damn hot.
I think it's
And
the
being
Neon
assaulted
Museum in
by.
Vegas, actually.
It is, yeah.
There you go.
The what?
The Neon Museum
Perfect.
in Las Vegas.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Perfect.
It's all old signs that have been taken down and saved.
Yeah.
I thought it was a composite. I thought it was a Photoshop composite.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, right.
Because it's a really beautiful old movie, you know. One from the heart. One from the
Now,
heart.
the person who did this did they do the Italian?
No, we thought there were similarities.
Yeah.
Anything anybody's dying to say that it hasn't?
That was a great show.
You thought so too.
I actually like the bicycles there too, the one on top.
You like that also?
I like the composition, I like the repeating.
Yeah,
bicycles.
actually, a lot of us like this.
It didn't print as well as it looked on the screen, apparently.
Well, you know, backlit, it was
Yes.
a little bit more contrast.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah, the presentation, you know, when it gets down to the nitty gritty, it's, I believe that no matter how small a detail, how you put into whatever you do, whatever you create, that in the end will reveal itself in the whole. So I would, you know, and I'm a detail person. I look at my frame, and one thing I can say just as far as critiquing, and I've done this in classes, is when I look at, I'm a full frame person. I'm a full frame person because I don't take the picture, I make the picture when I do it. And I look at whether I'm shooting a square or a panorama, it's full frame. That's my canvas. You don't take a painting and look at it and say, I think I'll just cut this off. All right? So I'm always looking at everything around the edges, the center. I also have a friend who's a photographer who said, you know, everybody, I looked at his stuff, I said, I don't get it. Your stuff seems chaotic to me. And I said, what's going on? He says, well, everybody puts everything in the center of the photograph, or they'll put it off to the side a little bit. Okay? He anchors all his stuff around the edge. He says, my stuff's anchored around the edge. So all his stuff, he's even more keenly aware of his edges. But for me to have a camera that doesn't show 100% of the frame is frustrating. Because I have things that go right to the very, very edge.
Drive a graphic designer nuts. Give me some space around it so I can crop it to fit on the page.
Yeah, but you're trying to take my canvas
Yeah.
and make it fit, and I've gone
already
through
done it.
all this work. But see now, a good magazine photographer can shoot a cover in that format. So when I did magazine stuff, it still got cropped. It still got type overlaid on top of it. But then I would shoot for that. And okay, you need an area where you can put some reverse type or whatever, and it needs to be this proportion. But graphic artists have their vision, and their raw materials are from other artists. And so they're entitled. to do all that, but you know, that's another art issue.
So, how are we doing? Anything we didn't cover that we can in the last couple of minutes here? How are we doing on time?
Yeah, that's 7 minutes.
Oh, okay. Guys,
Any ideas?
you have such an animated conversation. Is there anything you want to share over here?
Don't ask. Okay. Yeah, right.
How difficult was this one to choose? Well, that's really interesting. The person, I'll just say my personal experience. I had an opportunity at a couple of advanced students, and I was doing this online. They said, well, you're interested in looking at some of the landscape categories. So they said, yeah, and they were, and you know, I kind of missed it the first round, and they said, look, oh wow. You know, so personally, I didn't get it immediately, and then when I saw it, I thought this is great. And then when I saw the print, it was even more remarkable. But there was a lot of discussion on this. Maybe you want to share some of this.
It just knocked me out immediately. This was probably the easiest one for us all to choose.
Yeah.
We just loved it. The idea of having, I mean, it's like, it's a family portrait, and it's the great-grandchild.
There's a photographer.
Yeah. It just touches me in so many ways. Not only the nature, but just humanity. You know, protecting these massive things. Anybody familiar with Darius Kinsey? He's a photographer who worked in the Pacific Northwest and photographed the cutting of all the big, primarily cedars up there, not redwoods. It might have been redwoods too, but the scale is fantastic. And it was in a day where there was a glut, relatively speaking, of big trees. You can look at that and just, it's like, oh, God, look at that. But if you can get past that, and see what was happening in the period, and not that his photographs are like this, but they had the scale. And it's a baby. It's the latest baby from these trees. I mean, how old do you think that redwood is, Eric? Any idea? Michael. Michael.
Dan.
Maybe it's the art. That's probably a pretty young redwood, I would think.
You know,
5 years old, 10 years old.
One of the things compositionally, you know, you think, okay, you know, tall trees, you're going to have a vertical, right? That's the standard. But this breaks the format, and you have a horizontal, then it becomes a barrier, and in this case, a frame, if you will. And it's interesting compositionally for that.
Rules.
Right, it breaks.
It's a photograph of the small tree.
Yeah.
But it also is classic 1/3, 2/3
Yes,
composition.
absolutely.
So it has all those things.
Yeah.
Well, the composition, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. But
Your center of focus is that tree, and it's at the golden mean of that.
Well, there used to be a thing like when
photograph.
How to do a portrait, you know? How to pose a portrait. So you put the face here, you draw a diagonal line, and draw another diagonal, and that's where the right eye goes.
And now all those grids are interfaced on Lightroom.
Exactly.
You've got 6 or 7 different
The
compositions.
thing about composition
in the camera too.
is to just start seeing balance. And like that friend of mine that anchored everything on the outside, you know, he turned me on to that kind of balance. And it enhanced my vision for my own work. It just helped me see composition more, because you can just see balance. It's like there's a movement now. You know, everything's been done, right? But not everything's been defined. So it has been defined, but not accepted. I did a poster where it was a photograph of an elephant, and it was a graphic art, and all the colors surrounding it clashed. And I went, whoa. And then it worked. When you accept clash, color clash, it works. When you accept cutting things off, which there's all these rules, I'd say break the rules. Break the rules, make your own.
What you said earlier, though, is you could better break the rules when you know them.
Yes.
So when you're informed, then you know.
You're not breaking the rules if you don't know.
Yes, you are. You know, here's the standard breakup. Here's the standard way I'd shoot this. like the one with the elephant rhino, whatever, it's a
Right.
conscious effort to do what you classically shouldn't do, is put everything straight down the middle. And it's similar on that one bird shot too, you see that it's on one leg. If you draw a line right down the middle, that leg goes all the way up through the middle of it.
Yeah, I think you can analyze.
So you look at
things
those,
graphically that way, and it's true.
you should know what is, if it's expected, maybe you should do something else. And I find that I look back at my stuff and I go, oh, I'm framing it the same damn way. And maybe it was good once, it's not good 10 times. You know, and you go, oh, it's redundant. You look at I look at the photographs and I go, there's a terrible redundancy in how I shot these.
I had a student who brought in, you know, when you're teaching a photo class, there's assignments, and then you bring them in, everybody puts them up on the wall, and people different teachers have different ways they want to do it. But I just wanted test prints, I wanted proofs so they could put pins in them, so we didn't have all this time hanging stuff. And I had one student that came in and had this photograph, I forget even what it was, but it was very uninteresting. It just didn't do anything for me at all, and I moved on to the next one, and I forgot what I said. And then I turned around and he had not fixed it. And he had it in a box and he put it up. And when I came back, it was an entirely different image. And I said, now I understand. But he never did it again. But that's performance art in a photograph. Back in the 70s, he was just trying to.
Thank you.
Yeah, but you know what? But I got the message, and the whole class did too, that you can do anything you want, just go for it. You don't have to hang it, be criticized for it. That's the next risk.
So are there any other questions or comments? We're almost at noon, and our judges do have quite a drive to make after lunch. So.
This was my first time out. Tell me about that yellowfish. That's fine.
Okay.
You know, I love the bird. That's the one at the bottom.
No,
Top
around
of the yellow.
Right?
Yes. Yeah, that's my first time out. I got about great.
This one.
It's beautiful.
Is that yours? I liked it. I liked it a lot. I thought it was very interesting and tailored it almost, you know. And I like this. It's almost like I mean, I'm sure you saw that. That's what we're doing. It's almost like a little frame for the bird in case. But the yellow pulls us to the bird anyway. But that's I probably. I mean, you know, I didn't even notice truthfully the yellow mat until this minute, and I understand why you used it. It's sort of, you know, I think the yellow pulls it out already. You don't even need that because it's you know, when most of the tones are pretty muted, that yellow, you know, though it's not a bright yellow, it's dramatic. But I like the picture, and I like this effect. You know, of the back. You know, I thought there were a lot of elements in this I liked a lot.
I think it's beautifully done. I think you should do 10 more birds like that and have an exhibition.
I'm glad you asked that, because I think that's really important to get a sense, you know, like, nobody talked about it, you knew,
Right.
like, what do people think? We had that, you know, you pointed out your picture, and I was able to tell you what I thought about it, you know, because I have a very positive relationship to that. So, yeah, smart. You know, you gotta learn, you know, not everybody can go to school, and, you know, spend the time.
I'm self-taught for the
Yeah.
last year, so
Yeah.
why say here? I don't know.
I mean, we liked it.
Right.
It wouldn't have made it into the show. We had 3 judges who picked it. So it got, you know, your winner, it's got a picture of the show.
Right.
Wildlife. To get a picture like this, you'd be sitting out there for days. You have to be able to focus really, really fast. You have a lens, you know,
Right.
and you'd be waiting and waiting and waiting. And God, the film wasn't fast enough. It was stood still. And the technology makes it possible for that same person who took the Browning box out to go out and get wildlife stuff. That somebody in the last year you could go out and do that. So, what's your next step?
I don't know yet.
More birds. Well, we like this. I'd like to see a series of birds like this. And I'd like to be able to recognize the manzanita in it too.
And Joan, Art and Joan, could you come forward just a minute?
Yes.
What I'd like to say is that we've all been through photo exhibits before. And usually you walk in alone, or maybe with one other person, and you're just isolated in yourself, looking at all this stuff. How unusual to have judges, three interesting judges, to come in, be at the reception, open to people, and to do a walkthrough. This is so cool. This is thank you very much.
It's really, it's fun to do.
Educational.
And this is, I live in a small community. I've been there over 40 years. I'm kind of like the town photographer, but I do a lot of work. But you have a wonderful community here.
Yeah.
And the message, I'm in Point Reyes, it's just changing. We have a gazillion tourists and all that, and they're all lovely people, and they come out there because they love nature. And we have a federal park, which is a different dynamic, but the message is to do it make your own community. And you've done that here. You have a photo community here that is just as vibrant as San Francisco, which is a photo town. But it's just as vibrant, and I'm just totally impressed with the diversity of your community, the diversity of the photography. I mean, diversity, that is the name of the game. Another name for that is inclusiveness, if I may be so bold.
And on that note, we do have a photo club here in Sonora, so
Yeah.
if anybody's interested in our photo club, there's cards up front.
And that's just great.
Third Sunday of every month.
A lot of energy. I can't believe it's such a huge turnout of photography in such a small community.
Great group of people, great questions.
Testimony to technology being successful. Also, opportunity to be able to do what people took so much more work to do, and now to take it to the next step. I'm fascinated. I can't wait to see it. I think they should have some younger judges here.